The Law Commission, an unelected quango that recommends changes to the law in England and Wales, has published a 533-page consultation document on reforms to hate crime and hate speech laws. Its proposals are absolutely chilling. The new bill it wants to bring before the House of Commons is tantamount to an anti-free speech bill, which is an all-out assault on freedom of expression. The Commission's proposals have been described as the Scottish hate crime bill on steroids. Hate crime is defined as any criminal offence which is perceived by the victim or any other person to be motivated by hostility or prejudice towards someone based on a personal characteristic. This can include verbal abuse, intimidation, threats, harassment, assault and bullying directed at individuals or groups on account of their race, religion, sexuality, disability or transgender identity. However, police officers don't just chase after perpetrators of hate crime, they also track down those accused of hate incidents. A hate incident is any speech or action that is perceived to be hostile but is not in itself criminal or associated with a criminal offence. In this way, speech alone can require police investigation. Hundreds of thousands of police man-hours are wasted on non-crime hate incidents every year. Certain groups are offered more legal protections than others, and making a judgment on whether or not a crime has been committed compared to a non-crime hate incident is based largely on perception. The result is that rather than free speech, we have speech that is legally restricted in highly selective and highly subjective ways. But rather than narrowing the focus of the law, preventing police overreach and protecting free speech, the Law Commission wants the definition of hate crime to be expanded and the number of protected groups increased further. Its illiberal and censorious proposals would hand power to those who most loudly proclaim offence and allow the state to police our every utterance, including conversations that take place in the privacy of our own homes. This is not an exhaustive list, but here are 5 reasons why the Law Commission's proposals should be rejected out of hand. Firstly, there's no evidence that hate crime is actually increasing. The Home Office acknowledges that year-on-year statistical increases in police-recorded hate crime have been largely driven by improvements in recording and identifying what constitutes a hate crime. In contrast, the crime survey for England and Wales shows a long-term decline in hate crime, with a 38% fall during the decade from 2008 to 2018. Secondly, they're an attack on free speech. Under the Law Commission's proposals, the legal definition of hate speech would be amended so that any utterance perceived to be hostile to a protected group, regardless of the actual words or images used, or with the intention of the speaker, will be assumed to be hate speech. This means that cartoons of the Islamic prophet Muhammad, such as those used in the French satirical magazine Charlie Hebdo, would be outlawed in the UK. We need to repeal all elements of existing law that conflict with freedom of speech, rather than seeking new ways to regulate what we can and cannot say. Thirdly, they would erode equality before the law. It is already the case that some identity groups receive more legal protections than others. The Law Commission now proposes expanding those considered to have victim status to include sex workers, the elderly, women, travellers and members of alternative subcultures. Under plans to outlaw misogyny, women will be treated differently to men. This seems premised on a belief that women are one homogeneous group, all equally as oppressed and victimised, all in need of police officers to guard them from abusive men. A previous generation of activists fought hard to achieve equality before the law. These proposals not so much undermine as drive a coach and horses through that principle. Fourthly, they would fuel hate crime entrepreneurs. Under the Law Commission's proposals, campaigning organisations such as Tell Mama or Stonewall would be incentivised to present the groups they advocate on behalf of as victims in order to secure the power that comes with enhanced legal status. In this way, such campaigners encourage their members to perceive offence and facilitate them in reporting hate incidents to the police. The Law Commission's uncritical use of testimony from hate crime entrepreneurs means that legal changes are being proposed not on the basis of objective evidence, but on the subjective demands of activists for recognition and affirmation of suffering. Lastly, they would destroy women-only spaces. The Law Commission proposes a definition of transgender in line with that favoured by Stonewall. This would rely on self-identification rather than a need to acquire a gender recognition certificate. This means that for all the legal protections being offered to women, anyone who defends female-only spaces or insists on defining woman as an adult human female could be criminalised. The Law Commission represents the legal establishment, and its members clearly view British citizens with contempt. In their view, we are either victims in need of protection or perpetrators of hate and abuse. In either case, it thinks we need the state to step up the policing of our speech and behaviour. At present, the Law Commission's proposals have not yet been debated in Parliament or passed into law. We have a chance to make sure that they never make it that far. The Law Commission has launched a consultation on its proposals, and we're encouraging everyone in Britain First to take part by completing an online response form at www.lawcom.gov.uk/project/hate-crime. There is no need to reply to every question, but you do need to be quick. The consultation closes on the 24th of December. Merry Christmas, everybody.